Olivia's up there, I saw. Coming down.
No, Wednesday's my day. Good morning. It is 10 a.m. We will begin the August 2025 meeting of the License and Variance Board. Garland, the Chair of the License and Variance Board and the Community Services Administrator for the city. Left is Bo Jones, the Facilities Director for the City of Smyrna, and to his left is Andrew, Development Director for the City of Smyrna, and we make up the License and Variance Board that will be hearing this morning. Any other thing? Formal business. Item A is a variance request V25-078, allow new construction on lot of record below minimum requirements on land lot 451 at 962 McClendon Avenue. Brandon Thompson is the applicant. Ms. Crowe, the background on this. Brad Thompson. Did I, what?
Brandon.
Sorry,
You
Brad.
could get Brandon. Yeah. Good morning. Oh, this is very loud today. All right, good morning. Hold on, I don't want to blare this too loudly. Can I move this up? Is that? Okay. I know it. All right, so gotta deal with the echo a little bit. Good morning, Caitlin Crowe, Land Services Development Coordinator for the City of Smyrna Community Development. As you just mentioned, the first variance we're going to talk about today is variance V25-078 to allow new construction on a lot of record below minimum requirements. We do also have a second variance on the same property. I'm going to go ahead and read those both together to save a little bit of time here. And as you know, you will go ahead and vote on them separately. So the second variance today is going to be V25-079 to reduce the western side setback from 10 feet to 5.1 feet. So the subject parcel is a 0.25 acre lot located right there on McClendon Avenue. The applicant is proposing to completely renovate the existing home, which is currently 768 square feet. The applicant will be doubling the size of the home, as well as putting on a new roof structure, as well as a new carport on the side. But due to the new roof and the doubling of this property, it is considered a new home, although they will be reusing the existing home's foundation. So since this is considered a new home, it will need to meet section 1102 of the zoning code, which does require that any new home has a conforming lot. This one is substantially lower than the required R15 minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet. Thus, we do require that variance. However, this subject property was platted previously in 1951, which is prior to our current ordinance from 1974. Thus, the hardship is not self-created. So the existing home, again, is 768 square feet. Once he has put all this addition together, including air-conditioned space and un-air-conditioned space such as the deck, this property will be over the minimum requirement of 2,000 square feet for that minimum house size. So it's also bringing the house into compliance there. The subject property also has an existing driveway that is within the 10-foot side setback. The applicant is looking to put some covered parking on this lot by putting a carport over that existing driveway. Since that driveway exists today, that is the most logical location to put anything in. Thus, we are also looking for that reduction for the side setback to that 5.1 feet. Since it will be further than 5 feet from the side property line, no fire suppression is required. Similar variances have been approved in the past in this immediate area, most recently at 1069 McClendon in 2020 and 1068 McClendon in 2025. So there is a precedence for these types of variances. So after reviewing the variance application, staff is supportive of both requests and does recommend your approval with the following two conditions. The first, of course, is our standard condition. Approval of the requested variances shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevation submitted with the variance application. Number two, any damaged or broken curb caused during construction shall be replaced prior to issuance of the certificate of occupancy. And I can answer any questions. All right, thank you.
Ma'am. Mr. Thompson, would you step to the microphone, please?
Good morning, I'm Brad Thompson, and I am the applicant for 962 McClendon.
There were two conditions that Ms. Crowe important for you to follow in order for us to approve this.
I do.
Brad, are you planning on keeping that secondary structure in the rear of the property?
The shed,
Sir.
ultimately, no, I'll keep it while we're doing construction because I've got some appliances and things I want to, excuse me, I want to store in there, but no, eventually it will come down.
Only question I had. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak for or against this variance request, please do so at this time. Hearing none, we will entertain a motion.
I motion to approve variance V25-078, a variance request to allow new construction on lot of record below the minimum requirements in land lot 451 at 962 McClendon Avenue. Brad Thompson, the applicant.
Second motion.
Motion that's been properly seconded, please vote. Next item on the agenda is variance request V25-079. You might want to hang around just a second, sir. We've got to go through this second variance. We vote on them individually. Variance request V25-079, reduce the western side setback from 10 feet to 5.1 feet on land lot 451 at 962 McClendon Avenue. Brad Thompson is the applicant. Ms. Crowe has already provided the background. Is there anything you'd like to add to this?
Not at this time.
Questions related to this? Mr. Thompson, the same two conditions apply to this request as well. Do you agree to adhere to those conditions? Yes. Affirmative. Any questions for the owner? Yes. And this is a public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to speak for or against this request, you may do so at this time. Call for a vote.
Motion to approve variance request V25-079, reduce the western side setback from 10 feet to 5.1 feet, located at 962 McClendon Avenue. Brad Thompson is the applicant.
Second.
Properly seconded, please vote. That motion passes unanimously as well. Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is variance request V25-080, reduce the rear setback from 15 feet to 11.1 feet on land lot 380 at 544 Cheston Tree Brook. Jacob Barker is the applicant.
All right. Thank you again, Caitlin Crowe, Community Development. So as you just read out, this is variance V25-080 to reduce that rear setback from 15 feet to 11.1 feet. So this subject parcel is in the new subdivision known as Logan's Walk. It's a 0.13 acre lot. So the applicant currently has an existing patio at the rear of the property. Patios that are flush with the ground are allowed to be within the rear setback. The applicant is now looking to put a roof structure over that existing patio, so there's going to be no increase in impervious surface area. However, that roof structure becomes part of the home when it's erected and thus needs to meet the building setbacks. Since that patio is currently within that rear setback, the variance is required to reduce that setback to allow for this roof structure. Since this patio was already existing and they're not increasing any impervious surface area, we do feel that this is the minimum variance needed to have any type of covered structure in the rear yard. So after reviewing the variance application, staff is supportive of the request and does recommend your approval with just the standard stipulation. Approval of the requested variance is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And I can answer any questions.
Any questions from Ms. Crowe?
All right, thank you.
Mr. Parker? State your name for the record when you arrive at the microphone, please.
Jacob Barker.
Heard the background that Ms. Crowe provided, and there was one condition associated with that.
I do, yes. No, I believe that was sufficient.
No, just a comment. I love your shirt.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak for or against this variance request, please do so at this time.
I motion to approve V25-080, a variance request to reduce the rear setback from 15 feet to 11.1 feet in land lot 380 at 544 Crescent Tree Brook. Jacob Barker is the applicant.
Second motion.
Properly seconded. Please vote. That motion passes. Next item on the agenda is variance request V25-081. Reduce the rear setback from 25 feet to 22 feet Land Lot 330 at 572 Lakeview Terrace. Christopher Hembry is the applicant. Ms. Crowe, the background on this, please.
All right, again, Caitlin Crowe, Community Development. So V25-081 to reduce the rear setback from 25 feet to 22 feet is very similar to the last variance we just heard. So this particular property is 0.17 acre lot located just at the cul-de-sac on Lakeview Terrace. So this property also has a patio in the rear yard already. However, this patio is not currently in the rear setback. The applicant is looking to put a deck that'll just be about a foot off the ground that'll surround this patio and just give a little bit more space to the rear yard. Based on the photos that were sent, it does look like this yard is currently a little bit more muddy and dirt because of all the trees that are in the backyard. So thus the usable space is kind of contained to this hard surface patio currently. So this new deck will extend into the rear setback. Again, since it is considered a building addition and part of the home, since it's not meeting the rear setback requirements, the variance is required. A similar variance was actually approved just down the road at 577 Lakeview Terrace back in 2024, so there's a precedence for this type of variance in the immediate area as well. After reviewing this variance application, staff is supportive of this request and recommends your approval, again with just a standard condition. Approval of the requested variance is conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And I can answer any questions.
Questions for Ms. Crowe? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hembry?
Good morning, Christopher Hembry. I represent Ben Hill Renovations and Mr. Leroy Davis, our customer.
Ms. Crowe, would you remind me the conditions that apply to this?
This was just a standard condition.
Conditions are and agree to adhere to those?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Questions for Mr. Hembry?
No, sir.
Like to add to the background she provided?
No, sir.
Thank you very much.
Do I need to stick around, or is this?
We're going to vote, and then you can take off.
Okay.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak for or against this variance request, please do so at this time. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve variance request V25-081, reduce the rear setback from 25 feet to 22 feet, located at 572 Lakeview Terrace. Christopher Henry is applicant.
A second.
Properly seconded, please vote. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is variance request V25-082, allow a 6-foot fence in the front yard of a corner lot on land lot 524 at 3246 Lee Street. Susan Radulevacchia is the applicant. Ms. Crowe, the background on this, please.
Yes, Caitlin Crowe, Community Development. So this property is for variance V25-082 to allow for that 6-foot fence on a corner lot. So this subject parcel is just under half an acre, and it's located right there on the corner of Collier Drive and Lee Street. So the property is currently under construction right now with a new house that was permitted at the end of last year. The applicant has also planned to install a new swimming pool in the rear yard, which does require a fence to surround it by both zoning code and building code. The applicant has requested to bring that fence all the way up to the property line along Collier Drive, which does require a variance to allow for a fence that's taller than 4 feet within that front setback. When it comes to our fencing ordinance, both property lines on the right-of-way are considered front yards. Because this is rather a busy neighborhood and a busy intersection, sometimes a 4-foot fence just isn't adequate for both privacy and security of the property. So thus, we are looking to put a 6-foot fence on that side property. The fence right now is proposed to be a metal fence that will kind of look more like a park entrance to it to kind of keep with the aesthetic of the neighborhood. To note, this variance has been approved several times within the same neighborhood. Back in Dunn Street in 2016, Another one on Lee Street, 2016, and then 2017, we had Pine Tree Drive as well. So there is a precedence for this type of variance in the immediate neighborhood. After reviewing this application, staff is supportive of the request and recommends your approval with, again, just the standard stipulation. Approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And of course, I can answer any questions.
I got a question. So typically, I guess the code for a pool is 5-foot fence, correct?
4 foot is what's required for a pool, and this one is a requested 6 foot. But
Okay.
4 feet is the max height you can go within the front setback.
Gotcha.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Rattler-Vecchia, how close did I get?
As close as most people get. You were brave to try. I only do it because I married into it. So.
There you go, there you go.
Susan Radlovačky, and I am the current owner, future homeowner on that property.
You heard the background that Ms. Crow provided. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No, sir, I don't think so, but I'm happy to answer questions.
All right. There was one standard stipulation. Do you understand that stipulation?
I do. Yes.
Awesome. Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone present who'd like to speak for or against this variance request, please do so at this time. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion.
I motion to approve V25-082, a variance request to allow 6-foot fence in the front yard on a corner lot at land lot 524, 3246 Lee Street, Susan Radlovačky. Did I get it close? The applicant.
Second motion.
Have a motion that's been properly seconded. Please vote. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is, actually, the next 3 items on the agenda are different variance requests by the same involve a company that I'm personally engaged with, so I am going to recuse myself.
We're not used to chairing all the time. Okay, the next item on the agenda is V25-083, a variance request to allow new construction on a lot of record below minimum requirements in land lot 557 at 1463 Collier Drive. John Bradford is the applicant. Ms. Crow, the background, please.
Before I read it, are any of you guys here to represent this property? No, because I don't see John here.
Okay, well, then do we probably need to motion to move this to the next meeting agenda?
We'll have to table. Are you guys here to speak about it? I know you just want, are you here to speak about this one though? No, he isn't there. Yeah, but just as the neighbor, correct? I'm a neighbor. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to table as applicant.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, with that, I'll hear a motion to table item V25-083 to the next meeting. I'm not sure what the date is, Jill, September 10th.
Motion to table variance request V25-083 to allow secondary, or to allow new construction on a lot of record below minimum requirements located at 1463 Collier Drive. John Bradford is the applicant. Motion to table.
I second that. Did I have to ask any other questions beyond tabling that, Jill? Making sure? Okay, no other questions? Okay. With this one, I'm looking for a motion to approve V25-084, a variance request to reduce the eastern side setback from 12 feet to 10 feet at 1463 Collier Drive. John Bradford, the applicant, looking to table that to the meeting of September the 10th.
Second motion to table.
Oh, pushing the wrong button. There you go. All right, that passes. Item V25-085, a variance request to reduce the driveway setback from 5 feet to 2.6 feet in land lot 557 at 1463 Collier Drive. John Bradford, the applicant. We're looking for a motion to table that to the meeting of September the 10th.
Second motion. motion.
Did we want Richard to come back in for this next one, Rusty?
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the August 13th, 2025 License and Variance Board meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion that's been properly seconded. Please vote. Any other business to come before the board this morning? Adjourn.
You were just here to see how it went today? So I'll make sure, because you're not on until the end of